You got Peanut Butter and Jelly, and we've got Night Watcher and Casey Jones. I talked to Christian before we started this show, and I said, dude, we got to get Casey Jones in, and we got to get Night Watcher. And then Christian helping us out, making sure that we get everything completed on Shellanomics. Says, well then, bro, we're going to have to start deep diving into the newer IDW issues as well. So we've got a jam-packed Shellanomics episode today. As always, pretty much we're with our good friend Christian. We're recording a day earlier due to an awesome Pokemon Go Fest I'll be attending to later this week. But dude, so first reaction when you heard Night Watcher was coming back.
Oh, I thought, you know how it is with IDW comics. They always go deep into the lore of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're like, okay, they're bringing back Raph's alter ego. And I was like, but, can it be Raph or can it be anyone else? So that was the first thing, because you know how when they announced it, it was all like, who is the Night Watcher? And everybody was like thinking about, just like they did when the last Ronin came out, who is the last Ronin? They like to do this stuff. And so yeah, I was like, okay, interesting how they're gonna put their own spin on the Night Watcher. I always enjoyed the Night Watcher in the movie. So let's see what they do with it. And I gotta say, this is a pretty solid series.
I'd say so too. The artwork was great. It gets a little dark, which is what Night Watcher is supposed to do. He isn't going out at 2 in the afternoon. So great vibes, a good story, and feel free to start this one off with the preview issue first.
Yeah, that was the Free Comic Book Day 2024 issue, where we get our first glimpse at the Night Watcher, like a short intro story, where it starts with three mutants who want to rob an abandoned bank in Mutant Town, but suddenly a mysterious armored person attacks them and takes them out one by one. And it turns out that these robbers are actually humans, just wearing animal masks. And after taking them out, the mysterious, as he calls himself, Night Watcher, says that mutants will not be used by humans anymore. It's like, I am the protector of mutants. And like, oh my God, who is the Night Watcher? What does this mean? And yeah, it was just like a little teaser for what's to come. But from the start, I was like, I got this Batman feeling, and I liked it. I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Give me more of this, and yeah, we did get more of this.
Oh, we sure did.
So
it was a great little treat too, like you say, just to make sure we get everything covered here. There's even another mini here because this was celebrating 40 years of Ninja Turtles a couple years ago. We also had, instead of Baby's Day Out or Parents' Day Off, Splinter's Day Off with a lot of nice little laughter in here. I had fun reading this.
yeah, it was really cool to also get another like two little stories here in this Free Comic Book Day issue. And in Splinter's Day Off, it's like a story from the early times of the IDW universe, where we see the turtles, Splinter, are in their lair, and Splinter can't meditate with the turtles around goofing off, so he sends them away to be alone for a while. And in the city, the turtles, they get attacked by some foot ninjas, so big action scene there. Meanwhile, Splinter relaxes and he starts checking out stuff that normally the turtles do, like playing video games, making pizza himself, and working on a broken Mouser. But suddenly the Mouser reactivates and Splinter causes chaos by chasing it around the lair. It's just fun to see Splinter in this unusual situation. And later the turtles come back home, find the chaos, and Splinter then admits that he was goofing off for a change, and he challenges the turtles to a video game, and the turtles agree and just have a good time. And it's like, it's for the feels, it's for the good feelings, because in the current timeline, Splinter is gone, and to see like these moments, these family moments, yeah, it hits me in the feelings, I gotta say.
Oh, of course. And like he says at the end too, the only time I can goof around is when you guys aren't here, pretty much explaining, like, because they were all complaining, what's going on? Where's the pizza? And just his eyes, it was just like those old TV shows that you grew up with in the 90s, where the look on Splinter's face when they're looking for pizza, like, oh no, I am busted. So it was kind of fun to see his cover blown. Coming back though, we've got some serious business here with Night Watcher starting things off, and It's an interesting take here, guys. This is not set in 2007. This is more in the IDW verse here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, And starting with the Night Watcher series, which ran for 7 issues, this is like now the time after issue 150. The turtles, they are not in town. We're gonna find out more about that later. But there's a new guy in town calling himself, as I said, the Night Watcher. And the story of the first issue starts off with the Night Watcher chasing a seemingly criminal driver around across town. And while we see this chase, and it's mostly action, we also see little interviews with people across town about the whole mutant situation and the new mysterious vigilante, the Night Watcher. Some people are cool with the situation, while others don't like it or are even afraid of mutants. So it's nice to get a little feeling of the world right now. And after a fight with the bad guy, Night Watcher saves a little mutant kid from the car's trunk. And after the Night Watcher brings the kid home, so apparently the kid was kidnapped, Night Watcher then gets rid of the armor. And in the ending of the first issue, we find out that it turns out that who is the Night Watcher? It's actually Janica. And that was like a big, oh, okay, interesting take altogether now. Well, okay, that's the ending of the very first issue.
So how did you like that? Because we talked before too. I jokingly said the Jenica show is what it felt like, but it totally didn't, because although she had her mini series, that was just more for us to, as fans, to get familiar with their characters. So I did not have a problem with her being a Night Watcher. Did you?
Oh no, I thought about it like, okay, who could it be? And there are not many mutant turtles right now in town. So it's like, could be. And yeah, it turned out to be. And so I was like, okay, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. Even more when we find out, like in the next issue, like what happened, why did she do this? And um, it's like it gives Jenica something to do because, as I said, the other turtles are not around and someone has to protect the mutants. So there's a lot going on. And so Jenica taking on the mantle of the Night Watcher, as I said, it makes sense for me. So I was like, okay, getting more into character, what she's up to. Yeah, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I am too. And next issue is it helps me appreciate more like the '07 vibe with just the colors in there. You know what I mean for the costumes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there are like also later on in the series there are some callbacks to the 2007 movie.
Oh, I can't wait.
So yeah, Night Watcher number two, we get flashbacks to some month ago where Chenika, she tries to help mutants while the other turtles are away. And she has a run-in with Officer Monty because of her aggressive behavior. But she then overhears a call for help because of some weird creature, some weird whatchamacallit. And she goes there and runs into a weird metallic armor like creature. And this creature, as it turns out, was created like a golem by a sheep mutant through some kind of mysticism. And this mutant, she sees Jenica as worthy to be the guardian for this creature. And before she dies from a bullet wound, because caused by the SWAT team that attacked the armor because the armor was acting crazy. Um, yeah, and then Jenica puts on this apparently living armor and fights her way through the SWAT team that attacked the armor. And now she becomes the Night Watcher. So once again, a new take on the whole thing. Not only that it's not Raphael but Jenica, but also that the armor is more than just a metal armor. There's more behind it. And once again, we're gonna find out more about this whole situation later on. And as I said, it's a very interesting take.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one as well. Feel free to pop us into the next one with not YouTube, the Tube. I always love parodies like that. They never get old for me.
Oh yeah. Night Watch number three is very once I think I'm repeating myself here, but it's a very interesting issue because a lot that we see in this issue is told through like interviews, videos, and so on and so forth. And the focus of that story is on a woman named Eliza Leonetti. And she was a very successful businesswoman, but then she got mutated into a lizard mutant and apparently became a criminal. So Nightwatcher, Jenny, is investigating this whole situation. And it turns out that Eliza has cancer and her insurance didn't give her any money for her medication because she was no longer human. And that's why she turned to crime. But she is not evil and she doesn't want to hurt anyone. So Nightwatcher then is chasing Eliza, who is also hunted by the police. And then there's a big explosion, and it seems like Eliza was killed. But it turns out that it was all staged by Janica to help Eliza escape to Mutant Island, like Old Hope's sanctuary for mutants. So that was a very twisty, interesting tale, as I said, told through different perspectives. Like as you said, we saw this kind of investigative YouTube videos. It's like, oh, she was a criminal, but we find out there's more behind it. So I'm gotta say, this is maybe one of my favorite issues of the whole series, because it's just so interesting how it was told through all these different perspectives. So very enjoyable, and it's like one of this issue you could also read on itself. You don't have to read the whole story. You can like take out this issue and have a, in my opinion, very interesting and very cool story.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this too in another issue. Juniba, the writer here, I know we had some. He didn't
Mhm.
do. He did a little bit in the IDW verse that we were very impressed with when we were covering some previous comics
Yeah.
here on Shellanomics on Spotify and YouTube. So he's they are the person writing this, and I like it because it keeps us on our toes. And coming up next, we have a very cool, familiar look with the armor on like page 5 or 6, and I'm like, oh, is this gonna be who I think it is?
Yeah, issue number 4 of Nightwatcher, where it starts off with Nightwatcher chasing a mutant called Callum because he is working for the mutant big boss in the underworld that Nightwatcher is investigating, and that someone is Lao Ban. And but suddenly someone else appears, and that one is Ethan Grin, a guy in an armor who hunts mutants. So big chase between Jenica, Callum, and Ethan Grin, and then Ethan Grin turns out to be a wolf mutant himself. So he's a mutant who hunts mutants. And as Jenica and Ethan Grin are beating each other up, Callum steps in, tells Ethan Grin that he will go with him freely, and tells Jenica where to find Lao Ban. So later, Jenica goes to the address, but she gets ambushed by some mutants and the big boss himself, Lao Ban, who turns out to be a big mutant bear. And yeah, that's pretty much goes straight into the next issue, like Nightwatcher number 5, where Lao Ban and Nightwatcher start fighting. And as Lao Ban is beating up Chenika, suddenly the armor himself comes to life and attacks Lao Ban. So Lao Ban then gets captured, and Jenica is able to come home to Sheena. But Sheena says that she's going on a tour, and since Jenica has secrets, doesn't want to talk to Sheena about anything, like being the Night Watcher, Sheena has no idea about it. She then leaves Jenica behind to decide what's going to happen to their relationship. And yeah, that's where we are right now with Jenica and the Night Watcher. Like, lots going on, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just some really good action too, because it feels just. Is there anything you would have changed? Would you have wanted to see a Max Winters or anybody just like a blast from the past Easter egg here from 2007 so far?
Mm, I mean, I gotta say, I really like the design of Lao Ban,
Yeah.
but you know, it could have been a new version of Max Winter. It could have been the same, but um, yeah, but it's just such a different character. It's really this underground underworld boss, and Max Winter wasn't that. So it would have been like a character in name only. So I think it really works better as an original character here. But yeah, to be honest, maybe one day we will see Max Winter again, and I would not be against it, because I always thought that he was an interesting character.
Oh, of course, when you get Patrick Stewart over here voicing that character, that just adds another
Mm.
layer to the excellence of him. So, yeah, I was hoping for one too. I mean, we're still not done, so maybe there is an Easter egg though for those who are listening here. You know me, I'm always a fan of Easter eggs or throw it in somewhere, but I guess they couldn't. Maybe a Cowabunga Carl head somewhere. I guess I was just looking for, but this is a more. This is just a more. I think they wanted to go more Batman style here. Like, look, this is just no jokes. More like the Batman animated series where it's darker, a little grittier, and again, I like seeing Jenica get emotional. I like seeing her yell with her rage because it's not just like you feel it when she's angry, kind of like how Raphael is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And she's really got this angry side in her. So yeah, if you look at it like this, it really makes even more sense that she's the Night Watcher, because she's in a lot of ways she is kind of like Raph,
Yeah.
with her anger and yeah, aggressiveness against bad guys.
Yeah. And again, she was Splinter's kind of teacher's pet too in the ID verse. For those if you're just tuning in for the first time, if you don't really know too much about Jenica, quick plug here: you can check out our good friend TMNT the Talk. His podcast is a lot more in depth than we do, but we also have covered the IDW verse here. If you're not sure where Jenica came
Mhm.
from, but dude, we've got two more here left to go with issue number 6.
Yeah. So after like the armor awakened after the fight with Lao Ban, it is free and no longer part of Chenika. But Chenika tries to capture this creature again. And Lao Ban is meanwhile Chenika's prisoner. And the creature running around the city is like a kid, and it wants to find its own way of living. But before it can hurt anyone, Chenika is able to capture it. And so she is finally able to confront the creature, and which then goes straight into Night Watcher number 7, where Chenika and the creature start to fight in the rain, which really is reminded me of the Raph versus Leo fight from the movie. And suddenly the armor even starts talking, and it was part of Chenika. Like it was, it lived through all this as the Night Watcher, and all that it learned from her was how to fight and hurt others, while Chenika actually pushed people who cared for her away, and that's not what the armor wants. And Chenika realizes her mistake, that Chenika only showed the armor like how to hurt people and not to, laugh. So Chenika then starts helping mutants by doing good deeds and not just beating up criminals. And she keeps Lao Ban locked up so that she can get more information about the underworld from him. And during all this, she keeps the armor in a backpack to show him how to be good. And on the last page of the series, Jenica drives to meet Sheena again and make up with her too. And like on the last page, we see Jenica approaching Sheena. And yeah, we can only hope that there's a happy end for them too in the future. But that's the end of the Night Watcher series.
Yeah, so final thoughts on this. Did you feel it worked okay with the IDW verse with all these more like the mutant verse here? There's a lot more mutants in here compared to our the original,
Mm,
Night Watcher. It was just the turtles and a couple of artifact creatures.
yeah, absolutely. I I'm gonna say, I really, really like this series. It's, as you said, it's a bit darker. It's got really, it's dark and gritty moments. Like it, the Night Watcher really felt like the Batman of the TMT universe, and I really enjoyed that. It was dark, it was gritty, but it had also this heartfelt moment, like nearing the end, when the armor, who in a way reminded me of Nano from a 2003 show, because it's not it's it acts a bit aggressive, but it's not evil because it just doesn't know better, because it's more or less like a kid. It has to learn, and it's like it really goes in a way that's for me so interesting. So gotta say, I really, really enjoyed the series. I would have liked to see more, like another story arc. What's gonna happen next? I think we're gonna meet them again, no doubt about it. But who knows? So I would have liked to see like volume 2 of the Night Watcher series, like another story arc where they like try to work together, the Armor and Jenica, to become fully the Night Watcher or something like this. Maybe we will get that someday, but so far with these 3 issues, I really, really thought it was a really cool take on the character.
I had a lot of fun reading this as well. It doesn't seem like either of us had an issue with Jenica being the Night Watcher, and a great analogy you put too with Daddy, with our little nano buddy
Yeah.
from the 2003 show. I didn't good analogy there. So this is a series that our good friend Christian recommended we cover so we can have a little bit more knowledge of what's going to take place with our buddy Casey, and I'm glad he did, because this starts out pretty damn crazy. For those who don't know, the turtles are kind of separated now, so when we start reading these issues, little by little, they'll start coming together. We're going to have a new villain, and I'm really interested to hear your take on this, Christian, because I've heard buzz about this comic. Some love it, some hate it, some are in the middle ground. We know where you are with this, but just want to get a little more take on that too. So feel free to, I guess, we're slowly going to start putting the family back together again. Break these down how you see fit, because I believe these are some longer series, but each turtle should get a little bit of the spotlight here because we want to know what they've been up to.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And yeah, this was the start. We're starting here with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 because they started renumbering the series after issue number 150. But these are still the same turtles. It's the same universe. It's just like yeah, it's just like a renumbering. It feels it's the next volume, like Mirage Comics did, like volume 1, volume 2, volume 4. So yeah, we're gonna find out in the first 4 issues. Like each issue is concentrated on one turtle, and with the first issue, it's about Raphael. What's Raph up to? Well, Raph, when we first see him, he is in a prison in California, and it turns out that he actually has a deal with the prison director to keep an eye on dangerous inmates. And just then, 3 new inmates have arrived. And at night, these 3 inmates turn out to be foot ninjas. And Raphael confronts them. But he is too late, as the prison director was already killed with size. So everyone will think that it was Raphael. So Raph has to break out of prison himself and runs off to meet his brothers again to warn them. And on in the end of this issue, we see a new district attorney called Hale, who works with the Foot Clan in New York City to take control of the city. So yeah, that's our like first look at our new bad guy here.
So how do you like him? Does he remind you a little bit of like the Darius Dunn type, but to just a little smidge, even though this guy is going more for the mayor type approach?
Yeah, it's like I mean, we're gonna get more into him later on, and I really thought that it was an interesting take on a villain for the Turtles, because he is no mutant, alien, super ninja, or anything. He's just an attorney. So what can he do? Well, we're gonna find out. But yeah, you know how it is, like with these normal guys in comics, like kind of like the Kingpin in Daredevil, who is this uh, big, yeah, powerful guy, but not just that he can fight, but also because he has political power. Like in the last show of Daredevil, when the Kingpin became the mayor of New York City and started the hunt on Daredevil. So it feels kind of like this, and it's something that we haven't seen with the turtles. So I was really intrigued where this is going. It's really how I always say, I like it when they try new stuff. And with this guy, with this bad guy, definitely try something new.
Yeah, especially. And we're going to start slowly getting the family back together again. It's an interesting order that they go with this time here because, they start off with Raphael hot and heavy, and then we're going to go find my little friend here.
Yeah, in issue number 2, we find out what's up with Michelangelo. And as it turns out, Mikey is in Japan and has become an actor in his own TV show, which seems to be kind of like Power Rangers. So, really cool. Mikey has everything. He's big, famous, but he still misses his brothers. And one night in his apartment, Mikey gets drugged and attacked by foot ninjas. But Michelangelo is still able to fight them off. And suddenly, Raphael appears to tell Mikey that the foot are after them. And Mikey is like, whoa, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And Michelangelo is still mad at that the team has split up, and so he attacks Raph. And yeah, that's where issue number 2 ends.
So, Mike, how were you shocked that Mikey was the hothead? I'm not. We've seen him leave the team countless of times with heartache due to splinters, like not betrayal, but just his own methods and reasons. So, were you shocked with Mikey here?
No, not really. To be honest, it's really. I gotta say, it's in character for him because Mikey was always the family like the middle of the family. He always did everything for friends and family, and when they leave him, he is the one who takes it the hardest. It's really he was left heartbroken. It's like, how could you leave me? Why? And I was alone and everything. So it's no surprise that he is frustrated and like he now lets his anger go. I mean, still he's a teenager, so it's no surprise that sometimes his feelings get the best of him. So yeah, in my opinion, it's really in character for Mikey.
Yep. And now we've got our blue boy coming back here.
Yeah, in issue number 3, where we find out that Leonardo went to India, and he lives a peaceful life with some soft shell turtles near the Ganges river. And months later, some foot ninjas also appear there, and Leonardo has to take out his katanas again because he buried them because he didn't want to fight anymore. But after defeating them, he takes a helicopter from the foot and flies off to Tokyo. In Tokyo, Rev and Mike are fighting, and Leo crashes the helicopter into the building and tells them that Donatello is in danger and they have to come together again to save him. And yep, that's issue number 3.
We won't keep anybody waiting to see what happens with Donnie, and kind of I almost needed a vomit bag next to me, dude. This is very grotesque with what we're gonna see with Donatello here. I was very shocked about this one.
Oh boy. Yeah, I gotta say, from all 4 turtles, Donnie's story really hit the hardest. It's really, oh boy. So, what's going on with Donnie in issue number 4? After his time travel adventures, Donatello is very weak and confused, and really, it took a toll on him. The whole thing with the mysticism in the last few issues, and the magic, and so on and so forth. And he is on his way back to New York, but he gets attacked and kidnapped by some bad guys. Months later, we see that Donatello is in a cell in a safari park in Florida, as well as some other mutants. And the guards of the park let people pay them so that they can fight the mutant. And Donatello is always the one who volunteers to protect the other mutants to fight. And he's also talking with a rat, a normal, non mutant rat, but he calls the rat Splinter. Then one day, the guards bring in all the previous people who fought Don because they are annoyed that he always wins. And Donatello is able to still, even after everything he went through, he's still able to fight through the mob and freeze himself. But suddenly, an army of foot ninjas appear. So Donnie has to fight through them as well. And when it is all over, the other turtles appear to save him, and it's like, yeah, I'm fine. I did it myself. I freed myself. And the team is together again and ready to go back to New York, where this district attorney Hale has the Foot Clan under his control and is ready to destroy the mutant problem in the city. So yeah, that's now we know what we're up against.
Yep, and great job of writing here by Jason Aaron. I just wanted to give him a quick shout here because I had fun reading these. Just it's a little bit of breath of fresh air. I will say this though, Christian. Were you a little tired that the Foot Clan were coming back because it always seems to go that route, or were you hoping for a new villain to come around?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of fresh, a bit of new, a bit of old. Like we have this
Right.
new bad guy Hale, but we also have the Foot Clan. So it's, I mean, how the story evolves, it makes sense and it
Okay.
takes some interesting turns also with the Foot Clan. So I had no problem with them coming back. It's just classic Turtles versus Foot Clan. Hey, I'm always there for it, for the ninja action. So I never. I guess I will never get tired of that. It's just it's the way it should be.
Right, if done right, I get what you're saying. So as long, and it seems like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
absolutely.
if we continue to deep dive into this series. Okay, gotcha. Because yeah, in issue number 5, we've got who else have we talked about? Our good friend Casey Jones with a cool fight coming up.
Oh yeah. But with issue number 5, the main part is about the origin story of Hale. So we finally find out more about who is this guy anyway. And we find out that as a kid, everyone ignored him. Nobody cared about him. And he became an attorney, and his parents were his biggest fans. But some kind of burglar killed his parents. And as it seems that the killer was a mutant, Hale started to hate mutants. But one day he was approached by none other than Bebop and Rocksteady, who brought him to Karai to offer a partnership. And in the present time, we see Casey confronting Hale's foot patrol, like the foot ninjas who are under Hale's command. And Casey gets captured and brought to Hale. Hale throws a club to Casey and challenges him to a duel. Casey grabs this club, but immediately gets shot in the chest by Hale. And it's like, oh my god, Casey, are you good? Are you well? Once again, very evil cliffhanger there.
Yeah, just that's the IDW formula, I think, though, right? That's how I've liked it. Just got to keep going, which is why, as you know, here I try to wait as long as I can. If they have the full thing there to binge, I'm there for it. But it's just like I'm not a fan of waiting. But here we don't have to wait because we get right into number 6, and we get a little bit more. I guess a little bit more in depth about what the heck's going on with Splinter and Donnie and this random connection.
Yeah, with issue number 6, the Turtles, they finally arrive back in New York City, but they are not really a team anymore. They always argue and bicker, and Donatello is talking to a dead rat. That was the rat that he had earlier, but it got killed, and he's still carrying around this dead rat. And he says that he's talking to Splinter, and the other turtles like, oh my god, Donnie's mind is really gone. But it gets worse as the turtles get attacked by the foot patrol and chased through the city. So it's one big chase scene across the city. And the turtles, they are presented by Hale to be criminals and murderers. And the turtles realize that this whole city is their enemy. And that's what I meant when I said, like, okay, this is a very interesting take because Hale is, as I said, no big fighter, no ninja, no alien, no mutant. He's got political power and he sends the whole city after the turtles. He really, and it's something that we did not have before. It's really something new. And I guess that makes it so scary because it's like, people with political power, they can really. It feels a bit too real sometimes, like really, how should I put it? Turn people against each other. So yeah. And but Casey, back to Casey, we see that he is in a coma in hospital, and April is watching over him. So he's at least not dead. So yeah, that's a relief.
Yeah, thank God. And this is why we needed to read these before we get into his special series. We're getting halfway there, and this new part coming up, I believe it's called New York City versus TMNT. I think I was trying to catch those little
Yeah,
synopses. Okay, cool.
yeah, exactly. Because yeah, as it is, the whole city is against the turtles, and so the turtles, with issue number 7, they have to escape these attacks. They go to New Jersey to hide out there, and the brothers can't decide what to do, and each go their own way. Leo and Mikey go back to New York to stop some foot patrol, and Rev visits Casey in the hospital, but each one gets beaten, gets attacked by like the foot patrol. And Donnie just keeps talking to the dead rat. And even April gets attacked by some foot, but she gets help from some ordinary rats who suddenly appear. And it's like, once again, very, very mystical. Back in Newark, New Jersey, Don tries to convince his brothers that Splinter is still there in spirit and was always watching them from the afterlife. And later we see that Donatello goes out into the city alone, not to fight Foot, but to help people who get attacked by the Foot. And like Donnie tries to convince the others, like, that's what we should do. We should not go out looking for fights. We should go out, help the people. And yeah, so that's issue number 7.
Yep, and jeez. No, we've got a lot of blood coming here in number 8. Then this is just getting
Oh
crazy.
boy. Yeah, it gets crazier and crazier. So with issue number 8, we see each day Rev, Leo, and Mike, they keep fighting against the Foot Patrol, but it seems like it's useless as they have taken over the city. And Hale keeps getting the city behind him by also teaming up with the gangs of New York and sending him out to do crime wearing animal masks. Like, oh my God, these are mutants and they're doing crime, so they must be evil. And Leonardo, meanwhile, then follows Donatello at night and to see what he's up to, and they have an argument and also a little fight. And finally, we also find out that what's up with Karai nowadays, and because she's in her home, dabbling with some mystic stuff, and she doesn't want to be disturbed. And that's why she gave Hale control of the Foot. In the next morning, when the turtles wake up, Donatello is missing. But Leonardo now is starting to hear Splinter as well. And it's very, once again, very mystical. And we see that Donatello walks up to some foot patrolman and surrenders himself. Like, hey, you're looking for me? Here I am. Like, okay, what's his plan now? We're gonna find out.
Are you a fan of this with Splinter again being reincarnated? How the turtles are connecting with them in this unique way?
Um, it's
Gets
once
crazy for
again,
me,
it's
man.
it's a yeah, yeah. I mean, in the first few issues, I also thought like, okay, Donnie, boy, you're not well.
Mm-hmm.
You really got problems. It cannot be Splinter. Splinter is dead. And I mean, the other turtles really tried to convince him. But then when the other turtles started hearing it too, it's like, okay, I mean, with magic and mystic stuff, that's nothing new in the IDW universe. So when like Splinter from the other side tries to connect to the turtles, we always had stuff like the astral plane where the turtles connected with Splinter and stuff like that. So I was like, I just was not sure where this is going. Are they planning to bring Splinter back, or is it just like he sees that his sons are lost and he really tries to connect with them from the afterlife? At this point, I wasn't really sure where this is going, but we saw like, okay, there's more behind it. It's not just that Donatello is crazy, but there's more behind it. And I'm always up for a good mystic story, mystery story. So I just was along for the ride to find out more.
Like we said, these guys have been around for 40 years. it's similar when you're watching, sports where they try to change things up. Can they always just do meditation to see Splinter? So I do appreciate they're trying something new, which is good, because of course they could just sit there and have a spiritual awareness with meditation, or like you were saying earlier with
Mhm.
the astral plane. So a little gross with all this blood, my dude, but it's this is if you want to have the kitty turtles, just put on 1987 and I'll be just fine. We're okay though. We can handle a little red. It's gonna get very graphic though in that Casey Jones one that we cover very very soon. But feel free to take us into the next one.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I always say. Turtles can't be for kids. Turtle can't be for teenagers, for grown up. It works anyway. We all can have our own turtles. I
Yes.
know. Hey, like we get very soon, we get the teeny mutant ninja turtles for the very young turtle fans. So everyone can get their turtles, and it's totally fine in my opinion.
Yes.
So, yeah, issue number 9. Um, Raphael and Mikey try to rescue Donatello, but well, they are not successful. Leonardo now tries to calm his brothers down and tell them that Donatello was actually right about Splinter. And Donnie, meanwhile, is held in a cage in the zoo. Mikey is in later on is in a subway, and he gets attacked by some guys in shark masks and he beats them up. Then Mikey meets some people in Central Park who have fled from Hale's terror in the city, and Mikey realizes that not the whole city is against him. There are still people who are on their side. There's still hope. So Mikey then starts helping people again, like what Donatello always tried to tell them. And he also runs into Leo and Rev, and they finally work together against the Foot. But it seems that once again there are just too many of them, and the turtles they like get beaten down by this force of Foot. And yeah, where will this go? We're gonna find out later.
Oof, we sure are. Feel free to pop us into the next one.
Yeah, issue number 10, which, by the way, the title of the issue is Turtles on Trial, which
Hey.
reminds us of a classic episode.
Yes, sir.
So, and yeah, but that's pretty much what it is, because Leonardo, Mike, and Rev, they are captured and they wake up in the cage in the zoo with Donatello. They all have realized that Don was not crazy, and it really seems that Splinter tries to contact them. And they now have to be a family again, because the next day they will be on trial for their crimes, on quotes. Meanwhile, Casey has awoken from his coma. And the next day, it's time for the Turtles' trial. While Hale tells the judge and jury that the Turtles are animals and murderers, Don, as the Turtles' attorney, doesn't say anything. And the other turtles really have a hard time, but they try to believe in their brother, like he knows what he's doing. Somehow he knows. But then Rev in the courtroom sees the 3 killers from the prison among the foot patrol, and in classic Raphael fashion, he attacks them, and the big fight starts in the courtroom. After the skirmish, the turtles get handcuffed, and the trial goes on. April, meanwhile, has arrived outside the court with a hockey mask and a hockey stick, and she beats up some of the foot guards to like do her part. Oh yeah. So April is for a bit at least taking over for Casey.
And yeah, April Jones in the hood. And we also have in issue 11 regarding more of that Turtles on Trial. It brought back the X-Men vibes. If you remember that earlier cartoons from the 90s show where Beast had his trial, that gave me those kind of vibes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kinda. So yeah, issue number 11. We're nearing the end of this story arc. So, what does Donatello do in court? He calls in different citizens of New York, and they tell their story, how they were actually attacked by Hale's goons, and the turtles were the one who saved them. Or some of Hale's goons even come in and admit that they were hired by Hale. And then Don calls in April, who brought videotapes from Hale's office that she got there, videos that show how who really killed the director of the prison, how Hale kills the mutant who killed his parents in cold blood, and so on and so forth. Hale then realizes that he has lost and he runs out of the building. The turtles are free, and even most of the foot patrol see that Hale is crazy and he is not the way. That this is not the way of the foot. And Hale realizes he is alone, and he goes straight to Karai. She now comes out of her room and sees what Hale has done. He was actually supposed to just keep the turtles busy while she was away, but he went too far with power and he just became power hungry. Karai then punishes Hale with her magic and turns him into a chimera mutant creature, the thing that Hale hates the most. Hale then runs straight in this form back to the turtles for one final confrontation. So, yeah, I mean, in a way, I gotta say it was satisfying to see how Hale really got what it was coming for him. But a little bit, at least a little bit, I felt sorry for him in that moment that Karai punished him. But it's not like he doesn't deserve it. He was really such a horrible person to say it nice.
Yes, exactly. And one more left here with a shocker with the final page. I'll let you enjoy that spotlight there, my dude.
Oh man, yeah. The end of that story arc, issue number 12 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, the Turtles fight the Hale mutant creature that has completely lost its mind. The Turtles are able to work together as a team and knock Hale out. Hale is then put into a cage in the zoo, and later on we see April tells Casey what happened in the hospital. And in the sewers, the turtles now try to work together to contact Splinter in the afterlife through, well, actually Donatello's dead rat. And Splinter's spirit really appears, but then it vanishes again. And Donatello says that it is okay because Splinter is at peace. Is at peace. It doesn't seem like he wants to be alive again. He's at peace in the afterlife. But at Karai's place, she is frustrated that she was not able to use magic to get a connection to the afterlife, which she apparently wants. But in a portal, she sees then an alley in the city, and in that alley, a resurrected Splinter has appeared. Like, where did he suddenly come from? Like, what a cliffhanger ending to this crazy storyline.
So how do you like the pace? I feel the pace is going back to what I loved about IDW.
Um, Yeah, I really thought it was really good. I think they really did the smart thing here because if you remember in the last volume, how did it end? It ended with time travel stories, like time and space were destroyed by a giant mutant shark. So it was really how do you go from the end of the universe, where do you go from this? And I think it was really the smartest move to like bring the turtles back down to earth, like the street level stories with the Foot Clan and just like yeah, pretty much normal people in a turtles universe, how much normal you can be. um so I think it was really a smart move. It really felt like, okay, we're gonna back to the start. Not that it's a restart or reboot, but we're gonna back to how the turtle started out. Street level adventure, street level action. And I thought really these 12 issues, they really tell a very cool and very interesting story. As I said, it's really something new that we didn't have before. No super villain who wants to destroy the world. He's just a bad guy with too much power who has the power of politics behind him and the power of the city behind him. And so the turtles now, they cannot punch the whole city in the face. They really have to find a way to like, okay, how can we show the world that we are the good guys? So I really, really enjoyed the storyline, and it's, as I said, it's something new, and I always like it when they try something new. And here, in my opinion, it totally worked.
Yes, I agree, dude. Well said, well said. Coming up now is our main course of our podcast episode here, the one I've been wanting to dig into when I heard the announcement. I feel this is long overdue for someone who's been around the Turtles pretty much since the beginning of time. Um, let's get into Casey Jones. I guess before we get into it, though, do you agree? Were you hoping that this could have came out sooner? Casey having his own special?
Oh, as you said, it's been long overdue to give Casey his own special. I mean, like his own miniseries. I mean, we had the Casey and April miniseries, but it was really time to like Casey give his own spotlight, to really give his own story, to get more into the character who has been around since the beginning. It was really overdue, and I know that I'm repeating myself, but this story was really cool. It was really good. It was a great spotlight, like a character spotlight for Casey in the series. So yeah, I was really happy to finally have a Casey miniseries in this way, in this universe.
Gonna get very, very dark, which is what Casey's all about. We're gonna see a familiar friend in red, which is what everybody, I'm pretty sure, was expecting him to fit in somehow, and some
Mhm.
crazy battles. So feel free to break these down however you'd like. And I really enjoy the artwork. I had to say too, this is a Casey Jones phenomenal art style here. I like it from start to finish.
Oh, I can only agree, man. So, Casey Jones, six-part miniseries, starting with issue number one, where, yeah, this story takes place after the story arc that we just talked about. And Casey has still nightmares about Hale shooting him. And April is taking care of him because, yeah, he's at home, but he's not fully healed. But Casey is still Casey, and late at night, he sneaks out to go on patrol. And he runs into some purple dragons who are harassing a young girl mutant. And the purple dragons have some kind of drug on them that makes them stronger. So Casey really gets into trouble again. But the turtles then come in and the purple dragons run off. The young mutant's name is Annabelle, and she is looking for her missing father. And Casey promises to find him. Somewhere else in the city, a snow leopard mutant called Ludovic is hunting other mutants for a man named Marlin. And yeah, it was very interesting, a new take on the Marlin character, the hunter that we saw in the Mirage comics and in the 2003 show. So, IDW does what IDW does, bring in new versions of well-known characters, and yeah, once again, it's very very interesting take.
And you really can't have one without the other here, right? For issue number two.
Yeah, you know it, man. So in issue number two, it starts off with Marlin, who is giving Ludovic the drug called Nostrum. That was the same one that the Purple Dragons were using, and he giving it to him for his service because he's hunting mutants for him. Casey is trying to find Annabelle's father, and there he in the city he runs into Lao Ban. Yes, the bear mutant from the Nightwatcher series. And Lao Ban's goons and Casey then start to work together to find out who is kidnapping the mutants across town. As Casey is doing this, Rev appears because he is worried Casey might work together with the bad guys. Like, oh, what's going on here? Are you working with the bad guys now? Are you one of the bad guys? And Casey like, no, we try to do good here. And yeah, the two hotheads, they start arguing, they start to fight. And after a while, then Ludovic appears. He knocks out Rev and is about to take care of Casey. And yeah, you know how it always is. That was the cliffhanger of issue number two.
Yeah, they just got to keep them coming. And here comes, I guess, one more to describe this next one, gore.
Oh boy. Yeah, so Casey on rooftop fights with Ludovic. And Casey then tackles Ludovic off the building they are on, and they crash onto a car. And it's not like just I don't know, some just some feet that they're falling down. They're falling down a building, and Casey almost dies. And it's, yeah, that's the part where it really gets bloody because they both don't look good. But then Casey gets his hands on the nostrum from Ludovic and uses it, and it heals him. Casey then wakes up in Mutant Town where a veterinarian named Jane is taking care of him. But actually, Casey feels fantastic. He's all healed and stronger than ever. And yeah, so everything good? Maybe we'll find out.
We're gonna find out right away because I do like the ending of issue 4 here. I like the little twist.
Oh, yeah. So in issue number 4, we see a little flashback where we see how Marling took care of a young Ludovic and how he was actually mutated and created for his purposes. And Casey and Rev, they're together again. They're going on patrol together. But Casey is even more aggressive than usual, thanks to the nostrums, and like beating up the bad guys very. Once again, it gets a little bit bloody. And when April says that she's worried about him, Casey gets angry and storms off. And yeah, it's Casey's not in a good place right now. Ludovic, meanwhile, tries to get his hands on more nostrum so that he doesn't lose his humanity. And just a little side note here: Ludovic is a new character, and I thought that he was a very interesting character because it's not just he's evil doing evil stuff. He's a big snow leopard mutant, but he does this all because he is afraid to become a mindless animal again. And so he does bad stuff to stay a mutant. So you feel really start to feel sorry for the guy. But yeah, as I said, Ludovic tries to get his hands on more nostrum, but he gets caught by Marlin's men. And Casey then follows a lead to an old building that belonged to Marling, but there he's greeted by some purple dragons. And you know what this means? It's gonna we're gonna have some more beating up there.
What I really like is just the writing here. I even had to put this down. Like, is it the new and improved Casey Jones? Because at the end of this issue, he says, "You know what? I'm not mad. Far from it." It's like, wait a minute, Casey is a Zen dude. I just love that little writing there. Just for old school Casey Jones fans, just a great job. Yeah, we got a big showdown coming up in these next two, though, no doubt.
Yeah. So now issue number 5 is really Casey starts beating up the purple dragons, and he really gets into it, and he's really ripping them apart. But then he sees a vision of his mother, and that makes him realize that his anger and hate is not the right way. He really starts to realize, oh my God, what's going on with me? This is not me. And he runs off. Casey then meets up with Donatello, who analyzes the nostrum and finds out that it contains mutant DNA and parts, so it's like made from mutants. Casey now goes straight to Marlin's mansion, and he finds the laboratory where nostrum is created from mutant body parts. But Casey then gets knocked out by some of the guards, and after he awakens, Casey finds himself caught next to Ludovic, who is also no longer on Marlin's side. And Marlin is the one who's getting ready for a hunt. So, yeah, could be a little bit problematic for Casey there.
No, I agree. And our main event coming up right now, because I can't wait. I don't want the fans to wait either.
Yeah, finale of the Casey Jones miniseries. So, Casey and Solly, who is Annabelle's father, who is, yeah, was a prisoner there, and Ludovic, they try to escape the hunters. But Ludovic turns more and more animalistic because of the lack of nostrum, and he attacks the hunters. Casey is able to escape with Solly and tells him the way back to New York, but Casey himself goes back to the mansion to finish the job. Ludovic goes after Marlin and his family, but Casey stops him, and they fight. But then it turns out that Solly also came back to help Casey because he helped him, and he knocks Ludovic out with a taser. Casey and Solly escape the burning mansion because, of course, it started to burn during the fight, just as the turtles arrive. So, yeah, turtles just a little bit too late. They all go back home and they reunite Solly and Annabelle. So Casey was able to keep his promise. And Casey then apologizes to April, and she tells him that his friends will always be there for him. Casey, even though sometimes he's a lone wolf, but he will never be alone. And with this the issue and the miniseries ends. And yeah, six issues with a big focus on Casey. And yeah, as we said, it was about freaking time.
Yeah, well said there, my friend. Enjoy how it's April and Casey at the end as well. Just a nice little bittersweet, because we know how their relationship has been well over these, 40 plus years. Final takeaways from this episode, dude. We covered a lot of ground. We had a new and improved Night Watcher, Casey Jones with his own, and all this chaos in the new IDW series.
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of like a new start, but these are still familiar turtles. So I don't know. Maybe it was really like to get new readers onto the series, and I think it could really work. Like the Night Watcher series, as I said, interesting take on the character, but overall, I gotta say, it feels like dark, gritty, kind of Batman-like. The whole thing. I'm not just talking about Night Watcher, but also the main TMNT series and Casey Jones. It really gets a little bit darker, a bit more serious. I mean, I mean, still it's turtles. We also get the joking and the goofing off sometimes, but when it needs to be serious, it can get serious. And so far, I'm really happy with everything that's going on. I thought it was really cool. It was really smart to bring like the turtles back down to earth. Um, so yeah, this is like, as you said, it really feels like classic turtles, classic comic turtles, and I'm happy and I'm looking forward to every new issue that comes out.
Yeah, and it's not stopping anytime soon. What I wanted to ask you before we go into more of these down the road, I know you've covered a lot more of these, and we're going to get to that in about 2.5 minutes. Any predictions you had going into IDW, like that for the next few issues? I know they're still going strong. Most of these are about 2024, so almost 2 years old. Did you were you expecting Shredder to come? Was there anything you were hoping for with the IDW's issues 13 and going forward?
Let me tell you one thing. Every time I thought that I knew where this is going, like, okay, I think I got it figured out, it goes totally in a different direction. I never expect with each issue. I'm I'm really not joking here. With each issue, it feels like okay. So where does this go? And then I read the newest issue and like, okay, that's definitely not what I expected. Like, without spoiling anything, but the whole thing now with Splinter, and so Splinter is a big focus with Splinter there. So I did not know where they were going with Splinter, but I definitely did not expect the way they were going. So they still, after all these years, they still surprise me. And I never know where this is going, and I stopped trying to predict like what's going to happen next because I was always wrong. And that's but in this way it's a good thing because it's when you're reading an issue and at the end of the issue you're always like, oh my god, I need more, I want to know what happens next. That's always a good sign. So yeah, this, as you said, series still going strong.
Just so interesting, just because again you are a horror lover with the spookies and the scaries, and half the fun of the horror movies is usually trying to guess and predict where it's going to go, who's going to get killed next, what's going to be the next booby trap, who's going to be the next victim, who is the killer. And they have, and again, reading pretty much every comic book known to man in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles realm, be it, Archie, 2012, old school, new school, they still find ways to shock you, which is awesome. So I believe that's going to do it today, my dude. If they want to know more, because we know a lot of people can't wait, that we live in a very gimme universe. We do know where people can find somebody who has covered IDW issues 13 and going forward, and even has broken down the Casey Jones era, including Shredder, which is one I'd like to cover someday.
Oh yeah, the Shredder miniseries is also very cool. So yeah, if you need more content, more TMNT content for your podcasting, I might have you covered, because check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Talk, which is my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, or just go to the website tmnttalk.com, where you find all the newest episodes and also all the social media stuff, where you can find me on pretty much everywhere. And if you're something you want to like talk about, or like, hey Christian, what's your take on this or that, I'm always open to talk turtles. So don't be shy, send me a message, send me a mail, whatever. Always just ask Mike. I'm always up to talking turtles.
And one bonus tip for those if you have made it all the way. Again, I always like checking out your Instagram. Once a week, usually, you have your twice a week, you have your podcast episodes. How do you do it, man? Where does all this get stored? I just saw, again, another post earlier today. You've got the Power Rangers Turtles #3. You've got the Battle Nexus. You've got TMNT Godzilla. Do you have like a separate home that you don't tell your wife that it's all just loaded with turtle stuff? And where does it all fit?
Oh man, I wish it's getting really crowded. It's starting really to become a problem. I really have to like, I don't know, rent another room just for my turtle stuff. It's really there are two things I don't have enough, and that's money and place for my turtle stuff. So yeah, it's getting complicated to find places to store my turtles.
Gosh, I know it, because you're like me. You try not to, at least for me, when I had all my turtles and all that stuff, and still have most of it, I've shown you some of it. I don't like keeping it in totes. I want it open to the public. I want my friends to come over to see it.
Yeah.
I want to read it. So you're like me, right? You try to have everything like not in storage, right? It's either on a shelf or hung up or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the way it's got to be, in my opinion. Otherwise, just get rid of it if you can. Then that means you have too much. So that's gonna do it, guys. We'll see you next week. Until next time, and thanks as always, Christian, for stopping by.
Oh, always a pleasure. So yeah, as I said, until next time, Kawabanga and Goongala.